This is a fictional mindbender. The Brother's Son is another fantastic Netflix series that really inspires some thought into the perception of the American lifestyle when compared to more traditional cultures, which in this case is Taiwan or Taipei. So get ready for spoilers ahead if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, go ahead, or if you don't care. But if you haven't and do care, go ahead and turn off this video and go watch it. I highly recommend it. That said, the story revolves around the Sun family, head of one of the Chinese triads called the Jade Dragons. The father, Big Sun, is nearly assassinated in Taipei after checking in on his son Charles, who was assaulted earlier but had killed his attackers. He then sends Charles to America to protect his mother, whom he considered an investment because of the information that she holds that can destroy the triads in Taipei. Charles goes, only to find that it's not just his mother he has to protect, but his younger brother, Bruce, whom he now has to raise up in the criminal lifestyle of his family heritage, whom he apparently had no clue about, being raised in America after he and his mother left Taiwan to quote-unquote protect the family. The catchphrase being the embodiment of the importance of family loyalty that underlines the entire series. The show then follows the family through a crazy series of assassination attempts, family moments that are both funny and dramatic, and enough plot twists that make you want to take up Cantonese as a second language just so you can keep up and understand what the hell's going on. But I'm not here to review that nor discuss that. Rather, I want to talk about the underlying theme that drives the series, as I said before, and how it drives also the motivations and character arcs of the people involved. Through the eyes of the Sun family, particularly the two brothers, there is a constant competition and comparison, I think, between the values of American and Taiwanese culture, particularly how the former is focused on the desires of the individual and just enjoying life, while the latter is portrayed as being more traditional with loyalty to family and institution above all else, including the individual. Of course, there's more to it than just that. Anything humans do is not without nuance nor complexity, and the show displays this as well through the little idiosyncrasies characters do and the contradiction of their values as well. So, for example, when we first meet Charles, he is clearly living the high life in a fancy apartment in Taipei, enjoying one of his only and favorite pastimes, cooking, before then being forced to fight off masked assassins whom he ruthlessly kills, at the sacrifice of his beloved dish, of course. And this was something that I saw as much more symbolic by the end of the series because it does show the contradiction that is within Charles, that of being a ruthless killer, but at the same time enjoying the simple things and wanting to do that apparently. Big Sun, the father, initially comes off as the wise but criminal crime boss father who seems to be on his last legs after nearly being killed, but wanting to at least protect his family, perhaps learning from his past mistakes and whatnot. Only to later prove halfway through the series that to him, family equals himself. He never tells his wife that her beloved sister was dying of cancer. He deliberately sets up Charles to kill a would-be assassin when he was only a child, just to see if he can be man enough to become his most loyal and feared soldier. And then, when later finding out that his younger son Bruce set up all the Triad Dragon heads to be assassinated by the revolutionary Boxer assassins, sends his brother out to kill him in front of his own mother just to make her pay. Clearly, Big Sun's doctrine about protecting his family has got a lot of holes in it. The mother comes off as a stereotypical tiger mom demanding her child do well in school above everything else and to become a doctor. Yet, as the series progresses, we find out that she not only deeply misses her family back in Taiwan, but she also has ambitions to transform the Jade Dragons into something better than what it is. Desires that she chooses not to act upon until she finds out about the death of her sister that she was not aware of and that her husband did not tell her. And the more profound contradiction here in the series being that of Bruce himself, whom during most of the episodes is kind of a bumbling American idiot who doesn't even remember his brother, barely at least, or anything about his life in Taiwan, and is lying to his mother about training to be a doctor so that he could instead do closet improv performances, which he has a passion for. Yet, As the series progresses, we start to see a slow change in Bruce, where he begins to show a remarkable and underestimated by everyone capacity to be just as ruthless a gangster as his father and brother, while also being just as inventive, intelligent, and manipulative as his mother. All these contradictions and more are driven by the natural conflict of the cultural priorities. And to be fair, Brother's Son isn't the first show to portray this silent conflict in American culture. There are many other cultures besides Taiwanese that are just as traditional and just as near ironclad about maintaining their centuries-old structures. Oftentimes, these earlier portrayals show off America as the land of opportunity, the Camelot of the world, where the streets are paved with gold, and if you feel oppressed and trapped by your homeland, to just come over here and live free and live the good life. Even the very Statue of Liberty itself was meant as a giant propaganda poster for this message. But oftentimes, many immigrants come over from other places, and despite feeling oppression and bad times that brought them over to America in the first place, still carry many of their homeland cultural values that they still hold on to with them. Values that many times don't take as deep root, and many times also either become diluted or even die out by the third or fourth generations in. This is something I saw myself as an intern at a Turkish Jewish center, where I was asked to help plan out an event that was specifically designed to promote their own values to their children, whom they specifically told me were afraid that they were losing those values to the more dominant and louder American culture. Many traditionalists see America not as a beacon of light and hope and freedom, but as corruption and the eventual destruction of their ethnic, cultural, and religious identity. And that it takes place over a long period of time makes it that more insidious. Like many Americans on both the right and the left, we seem to share the same view when it comes to many international traditional values, often seen or being portrayed as either barbaric, stuck in the past, oppressive, and or unchanging to the extent of violence. Look at how we saw the drama of the British royal family in the last year. The Brother's Son puts these integrated nuances on full display, sometimes playing up one side over the other, sometimes condemning one side over the other, it seems, such as when one of Bruce's friends from the Jade Dragons refers to his desires to not take up the family business as being referred to in Taiwan as being American, and so on. However, by the end of the series, the show remains neutral about any kind of judgment on cultural values, with half of the characters now choosing to follow after a tradition, but doing it with a somewhat progressive flair, while the other half choosing to live out the quote-unquote American dream, while also embracing their family heritage with all its complexities. It's an excellent show that really provokes me to consider my own values, if they're really universal or if they're just American. And also provokes me to examine how I look at other cultures as well. If I am being, I guess you can say, neo-imperialistic about it in terms of thinking that what I believe and how I live is better than other places, or if I really do think that these are just kind of universal human things and that it's just people's choices that fuck it up. But regardless, what do you guys think? Have you seen The Brother's Son? And if you did you like the show? And what takes did you pick up from it? Or did you not like the show and just move on? Otherwise, this is the Fictional Mindbender, and you guys have a good day.